5-yard line of the Browns. Cutler from center, play fake to throw. Jay climbs the pocket, hit high in the head as he throws it downfield, jump ball up in the air. Oh, shot! Knock the ball!
Flair, full racing in, full dives, and he caught it!
Running left to the 30, 35, and he plows into the defender.
Looper into short left, and this one is caught by Bull. Bull coming in this time.
8-yard line takes the shotgun, snap, pocket holds, throwing back in the end zone, up in the air. Touchdown! Touchdown Bears!
I was about to be 26 years old.
I was 10 years old when I was diagnosed.
And I had lost 33 pounds.
And my symptoms were pretty classic. I was going to the bathroom a lot, thirsty all the time, and I lost a bunch of weight.
I was going to the bathroom all the time at night, dry mouth, tired, kind of all the classic symptoms.
So it took probably a couple months for my parents to realize exactly what was going on. We went into the doctor and immediately knew that I was a type 1 diabetic.
I mean, I think the long-term effects.
I think it's the fact that it's a daily challenge. I think that, despite having had it for almost 24 years now, I think every day is still different.
Losing your eyesight, things of that nature. But I think that can be, you can do a good job of maintaining your diet and hopefully dramatically decreasing those.
I think that's scary. I mean, it's you never have a firm grasp on handling a disease, so I think it's concerning, but also important and helpful to know that every day presents its own unique set of challenges.
We try to eat before a game. Kind of depends if it's a morning game, a noon game. It's obviously breakfast food.
So I try to eat as consistently as possible during the year. It's difficult. We're in different clubhouses with different foods being brought to us.
So I'll do an egg white omelet with spinach and peppers in it, some steel-cut oats, and usually some goat yogurt.
My go-to is a turkey sandwich with a little fruit. That's my pregame meal. I don't know if there's an easier period of life. I think, I was 10 in some ways seemed like a good age because I was responsible enough, old enough to handle it on my own for the most part right away. So about 150 is what I shoot for during the course of a game, just so that if I do drop low a little bit, I won't get too low.
I've never had a low during the game. I've been lucky in that regard. We do a really good job. It's kind of why I eat kind of the same thing before a game, because I know exactly what it's going to do to my body, how much insulin to put in. So my numbers are pretty consistent throughout a game. But if I did get low, we always have Gatorade right there on the sideline, so that'd probably be what I would use.
I'm out in the outfield with actually gum has been my go-to. There's actually enough carbs in gum that if an inning runs long and I need some glucose, I go to the double bubble. I can. I'm actually thankful for that. As much as it can be a crummy feeling, it's nice to know that I still have hypoglycemia sensitivity. So I know when I'm dropping low, and I can hopefully mitigate the effects of it.
Not high, not as much. I get tired and a little cranky if I do get high.
So it's not a good feeling, but it probably has saved a couple trips to the hospital for me.
If I get low, I start to sweat. I start to shake a little bit. So I know I'm getting down there if that starts happening. Check as often as you can.
More than anything, I think it's important to really take on and own the disease.
I think that's that's something that kids have a hard time with, and even adults. Sometimes I catch myself when I haven't checked, in half a day, and you don't know where your sugars are. So
I think it's certainly you're going to encounter a lot of frustrating moments. Everybody does. That's natural. That's to be expected.
The only way to really stay tight is to check your sugars and always know kind of where you're at.
I'm surrounded by coaches and trainers who have at least, certainly the trainers have a better understanding of what to do in case of an emergency.
Yes, the coaches that I'm directly involved with, they know if I have to get up out of a meeting or, if in the middle of practice I've got to, talk to a trainer, they know what's happening. I haven't altered much. I just, before I do exercise, I make sure to check where my sugars are at, and then directly afterwards check to make sure where I'm at. But the more you exercise with diabetes, it's like taking an insulin shot, so that's going to help keep you a little bit more constant.
I think it's there's sort of this intangible mental part of having the disease and managing the disease that really, on any given day it doesn't amount to much, but there are times where I just get frustrated. I
was just preaching on checking your sugars, and that's probably the hardest thing I think for me is just making sure that in the morning and periodically throughout the day that I'm staying on top of it and not just hoping that my sugars are where they should be.
I think the finger pricks and the injections, the physical part is really, it's tough, but it's such a routine now that it's, I'm a lot more comfortable handling that than sort of the mental stress that managing T1D can provide. It's just, it's a daily struggle, and it's sort of always in the back of your mind, so that part's really challenging.
Middle of the night, I do not. I check before I go to bed, and then obviously when I wake up.
I don't typically go out of my way to check during the night. I've had plenty of nights where I've woken up with low blood sugar, and I'll check to make sure that I am indeed low. I think it's something I'll definitely explore down the road, but as long as my baseball career continues, I probably won't use one.
I've used them periodically. I'm actually going to use the Dexcom one after the season. I'm going to try that out. I've never worn an insulin pump. I've thought about it. The reason I don't wear them is I just have a hard time with something being attached to my body like that.
Same as the CGM. I tried one out, and I enjoyed parts of it, but again, it was having something on me that just felt like it was getting in the way, and as active as I am, I just wasn't prepared to really use one consistently, and I'm happy with the way I manage my disease now.
I think it's a little bit easier, for kids when they get it younger, because I was 26, so I never had anything attached to me for 26 years. So it may be something later on in life that I give a try, but not right now.
Well, I think currently the things they're doing with the artificial pancreas right now, which is really exciting, and I think that really, that could potentially take away the mental component of having the disease.
I think they continue with glucose monitors. They're getting smaller and smaller. I remember when they kind of first came out and hit the market, they were still pretty big, and now the Dexcom one, it's this big, and that's something that definitely interests me, because I think that knowledge is really powerful, to know where you are, where your sugars are, pretty much constantly throughout the day.
Sure, you'd have a couple foreign bodies attached to you.
That's pretty remarkable science.
But if you could eliminate the daily and hourly and minutely thought that goes into managing the disease, I think that's really exciting to me and every other type 1 out there.
Stay strong.
I look at the disease as a challenge and try to live your life really make it a goal of yours to live your life to the fullest that you can possibly do.
Sam Foley, great catch.
But there's so many people out there with type 1 doing great things in the athletic world. So follow your dreams, and just because you do have type 1 doesn't have to alter those at all.